Oh, so good evening, everyone, and welcome to Dan Ainsworth from Rovers Chat. We'll be talking about the upcoming game, Birmingham versus Blackburn at St Andrews on the 13th of February. So I think Birmingham fans are all hoping it's an early Valentine's present. I know the Rovers fans will be saying the same. Dan, just tell us a little bit about yourself and the podcast, what you get up to, and then we'll go into the game.
Yeah, so I'm Dan Ainsworth. I've run the Rovers Chat podcast for 7 years now, coming up to 7 years. We cover everything, whether that's good, bad, weekly podcast as well, but plenty of YouTube content. We're pretty out there in terms of videos. You'll listen, if anyone's watched the general Sky Sports League of 72 channel, we've done a bit on there. Just an honest, balanced opinion of Rovers. I'd say whether it's good or bad, we're not afraid to call us out when we're bad, and if it's like that tomorrow, you'll hear from us. But yeah, just general Rovers content, just following the club we love, just like this channel and like every other channel.
Wicked, and then we've Still and Talk. We've been going for like 13 years now, so it's a bit of a difference, but yeah, very very similar group of lads and a single lass actually in our group, and we just talk everything Birmingham. Very similar, I think, in terms of the clubs as well, the way things have been. We've obviously got the background of ownership issues, fans rebelling, um, being in the league for far too long, wanting to get back to the Premier League. All feels very close to home, I shall say, actually, in terms of the way things are. Um, it starts off really with the your news over the past couple of days. I mean, it's been a bit hectic for yourselves, and obviously the taking on board of good old John Eustace, who, you know, Birmingham wise, I can't say anything but positives about. He was a fantastic leader at the club, and he really had the fans and the players very much on side. And I'm sure he'll do the same with yourselves, and probably get that raucous welcome back to St Andrews that he deserves during Tuesday's the game. But I will say, as soon as kickoff happens, he's yours and he's no longer ours. But yeah, what's your thoughts? Initial thoughts on John Eustace and his appointment first of all.
Yeah, it's been a really, really interesting few years. We obviously had Tony Mowbray, again, another link that
Indeed.
comes into Tuesday's game for 5.5 years. John Dole Thomason came in on the back of what I'd say Mowbray took us as far as he could in terms of getting us into a playoff pushing spot. We needed that manager to give us the extra boost, and we nearly did it last year. We finished seventh, won 4-3 at Millwall from 3-1 down on the last day, but we were relying on other results to go our way. And we come into this year with a lot of hope. I'd say we got 3 transfers in by the end of June, which anyone who follows Rovers will tell you we never get one before the end of June. We're normally the August buyers. We buy everyone in August and sell players. So it become really positive, and then financial issues came in. So for anyone who doesn't know, we've got Indian owners, and essentially they're being investigated for another business they have. So the Indian government have put restrictions on them sending money abroad. So essentially, Rovers are limited with what money comes in. We've kind of got to itemize everything we spend money on and send the request over.
Right.
And then it just went sour. Really, John Dale Thomason came out in the press and slated the club for changing the plans, changing the budget, the philosophy, everything because we couldn't spend money. And then it kind of died down a bit. Rovers started doing well, and that when we beat Birmingham 4-2 at Ewood earlier this season, everything seemed really rosy. Rovers were in that pack of chasing the playoffs. I don't think we ever expected it this year, given the league, but then it's just gone downhill. 1 win in 11 since the start of December before that Stoke game. And the manager started speaking more and more against the club. We had a transfer on deadline day. We were signing Duncan Maguire from Orlando City, and we forgot to click the correct button to submit the transfer, which I thought were a lie at the time, but it's Blackburn Rovers and nothing ever shocks us. So everything just come to a head last week, and on last Friday we finally got the news that John Dale Thomason had left, and John Eustace came in the hour. And I'll be honest, delighted with it. I've seen a lot of reaction from Birmingham fans. I don't think he's the manager that we'd have maybe gone for if we were waiting until the summer to a point, because I
Yeah.
think we'd have gone for him. But he comes in with credit to his name. He did a good job at Birmingham at the start of the year. You mentioned the fans as well. I think that's such a
Mm.
big part of of Rovers over the last 14 years under the ownership. The fan base has really split. Tony Mowbray did that so well to bring it back together. Thomason carried that on, but then at the end, the fans were really split again, given all these issues. So I think he's going to come in and do that job for us. And I think
Yeah.
it goes under the radar. I think we didn't appreciate Tony Mowbray for that at times. I think we focused on his football, whereas he did a lot on the outside. So really happy with John Eustace, the best appointment I think we could have got, a lot better than I expected. Uh, was kind of in charge on Saturday. Damien Johnson, another former link,
Indeed.
took the hot seat for that game. But John Eustace came down in the second half and almost took over the team, and you could see him pushing us forward. I think fans are looking forward to having the manager back that gives us that link, because it just fell apart recently. I don't think we're expecting miracles from him, and I think it'd be stupid too, given our financial issues, but we're expecting a club that we can fight for. He's come out today and said he wants every player to come off the pitch, and he wants people to appreciate the work they've done, and that's what Rovers fans ask for. I think when people talk about Rovers, I think some fans from other clubs see us as being this club that thinks we should be Premier League title contenders again because we did it 30 years ago. We don't. We just want a club that we're proud of, a club that we can back, a team that we can back. And the early signs are that Eustace will bring that to us. And for me, that's a big thing. I think that means a lot more than, although I'd love to have all the success, it means a lot to have a manager that cares, that can bring the fans together. So
He
hopefully
does a phenomenal
we can
job
see
of
it.
that. You know, when he came into Birmingham, we were extremely disjointed. You know, fans were anti-owners. We were in a process of looking and selling. Um, you know, things were looking really, really rosy. He saved us in the league, and then was doing a sterling job, really, of taking us forwards with what we had. And it's fair to say, you know, we haven't got a squad of world beaters, but we had a squad of grafters, and he brought the best out of those individuals. And I am sure that he'll do exactly the same for yourselves. And he is such generally a nice guy, and he'll do everything he possibly can for the fans. So the way, you know, coming from me, we never wanted to see him go at that point in time. It was all very strange. Obviously, the appointment of what was Wayne Rooney seemed to have been on the cards for a while, has horribly backfired. Um, and now we find ourselves in a very similar position to when John took over, actually. So he is a really good guy. He will take you know, and bring you all together as fans, definitely. And but like I said, we said before I started recording, I wish him every luck he can after tomorrow evening.
Of course, of
So,
course.
well, I mean, we come into the game. You off the back of a good result at the weekend against Stoke, and unfortunately for Birmingham, another loss for ourselves against Sheffield Wednesday. So we're hoping for a bit of a bounce back, and it's also our first home game for quite a while. So we got two on the bounce with yourselves Tuesday, and then Sunderland on Saturday. So no easy games. Obviously, records, you know, over the past five really have been very much in the favour of Rovers. With three wins for yourselves, one draw, and one win for Birmingham, and that one win came last season actually at St Andrews. So again, it was a close game. I think you finished 1-0, so you know they're always good and close. But yeah, Damien Johnson, good player for Birmingham. Absolutely loved him when he was there. Not surprised that he is still very much involved with yourselves at the club, and you know he was very much the club at heart. I think he was always going to be back there at some point doing the different involvement. But I mean, we talk about Birmingham and the player links. Actually, we've got quite a few um,
Yeah,
over the years. You know, DJ we've mentioned there, but good old, well, say good old. You know, he turned out a little bit for you, but more for us was Robbie Savage, and his time across both. David Dunn, loved David Dunn at Birmingham. It's a shame he got so many injuries in his time that was there. But he did fantastic. And I'll never forget him trying to do his little pirouette trick and literally tripping over his own feet at St Andrews. So he was a diamond guy. Mentioned one of the players as well, that you know, Sam Gallagher, just recently. Was on loan at Birmingham. And of course, there was one which I think a lot of people do forget about, but that's Reda Kadra.
Yeah.
and he had a really good stint again on loan whilst at Birmingham, but was I think on loan at Rovers, I believe, as well.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, year before. I think the year before you had him. I think he
Yeah,
was. I loved him. I think he scored. Did he score in that victory you mentioned?
he did
St
indeed.
Andrews
Yes.
against us. Yeah, typical. It's always Rovers' way to concede to a corner.
It is actually. I mean, when I've gone back through the years, it tends to be the players that you're up against or have been at your own club that come back to haunt you. So it's going to be interesting though going into tomorrow evening and the game. Two clubs both needing the results really to get away from the situation that we're both in and further away from that bottom three situation. So I mean, how do you see it going? First of all, which players do you feel that we need to look out for ahead?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Given the new manager, I think you can't really tell. I think Sammy Smodic would be the obvious answer. Uh, Scored his 17th goal of the season on Saturday in the league, 21 in all comps. He's just he's really took the fact that Rovers don't have an out and out striker. He's really took that role well. Gets in the right positions. He's kind of that number 10 that latches onto it. And I think he's one you've got to watch. Naturally, he's been the one that if Rovers are getting results, do really well. Tyrese Dolan scored a brace at the weekend. Tony Mowbray, knowing, brought him to the club. He basically got rejected from Preston, who were a lower category academy than us, and Rovers took the leap of faith with him. Mowbray really developed him, and now he's become a real talent for us. I think there was a stat the other day that out of the 36 points we've gained this season, he started in the games that would give us 28 of them, which really shows his impact in the squad. Got
Really?
the brace at the weekend. He's a really nippy player in behind. Rovers went back to basics on Saturday. Basically, it was long ball up the pitch. Sam Gallagher heads it on. Let one of your pacey players go through. So I think Dolan will have a real influence on this game. If we're looking further back, Sondre Tronstad in the holding midfield role, probably describe him in the role that Bealey could play. I know he's
Yep.
playing centre back at the moment, but he does that role really well. There's a lot of talent in this side, and I think John Dale Thomason's issue was he wasn't playing to our strengths, he was playing to his tactics, whereas I
Yes.
think Eustace will go. So you'll see a lot of players that are putting that effort in, that are doing what they need to do. There's a lot that you could pick out. Sam Gallagher can be really influential on his day, but he's so frustrating at times. And hopefully, we're going to see under Eustace this move back to let's do what the players are good at. Let's not try and ask them to do things they can't. Like you
Mhm.
said, with your team, not a team of world beaters, we're the same. I think Sammy Smodic is probably going to get 25 goals. I wouldn't class him as too good for the championship, though, without sounding harsh to him. So, yeah, I think we'll just go back to basics. So, the likes of Gallagher, I think, will be really influential. Tyrese Dolan, Smodic going back. I think all these players we look at, we shouldn't be where we are. I think we're in a false position, but it's about Eustace getting the best out of them. We might take time to adapt. We could struggle on Tuesday and maybe Eustace wants to implement a way. We'll just have to see. But Smodic's definitely the main one to watch.
I mean, when it comes to Birmingham, it's hard to predict what we're going to see because I look at the game against Leicester in the FA Cup, which I know in the second half we got beat by them at that stage, but during the first half it was just all Birmingham, and it was the way the team was set out, and they just wanted to attack, attack, attack. We Stansfield, I guess, is the name that stands out at the moment. He was rested at the weekend though, and did only come on as a substitute. So we're looking to see him start, and then we've got our new Korean player Paik, who he he's been off the bench a couple of times, Albion and Sheff Wednesday, and really began to show a little bit of class. So I'm hoping to see him start here during the game. I mean, it'll be interesting because our players have been that used to working under Eustace before everything changed. That I don't think, first of all, they will ever forget some of the things that he did for them and the way that he interacted. So in terms of the way it'll be set up, it will be interesting because I don't see it being anything different but a John Eustace team, which, like you say, is hard-working, front foot, play to your strengths, and we've got to set up to make sure that we can combat that. So I think it's going to be, as always, a tight game. It's a shame it's on a Tuesday night, actually. I think we'd all have much preferred it to
Yeah.
have been a Saturday or a Sunday because the atmosphere would have been so much better. But you know, as we get into it, what's your prediction? Always a toughie because I know you and nobody likes going against their own club. But yeah, what's your prediction for a score?
I've got to back us to win with it being the new manager bounce. I think Rovers fans again will know from Mowbray. We played his Sunderland side a few times, and it was what you expect. There's times where I think tactically it's very naive at times with
Mm-hmm.
Mowbray, but I think he also knows this division. He knows how to get results. I think we'll nick it 2-1 just on the basis of the new manager, and the players look really up for it, and they seem to be bored of the old system, so they're kind of up. I'll be honest, all right, my only worry is do we take time to adapt now? We did play a terrible Stoke side the other day, and when I say they were bad, they was absolutely shocking. I think we'd have beat them with our own manager and they were that bad, but I'll go 2-1. I think it's going to be a good game. It might be the game where the former players coming home to Birmingham, so I'll go for Sam Gallagher brace, 2-1 Rovers, but I'm never predicting your own club's normally hard, but predicting Blackburn Rovers is you
So
deserve
it's
money
so
if you can
strange.
get it right.
It's like listening to us as Birmingham fans because I mean I've got to say we've done a show this evening, and my prediction was a 2-0, and obviously I've got to say to Birmingham, I just feel as though we've had 3 games now where we've had over 50 chances on goal and we haven't been able to put one away. So at some point it's got to click, and
That
I'm
feels
desperately
very
hoping it's
Mowbray. Yeah.
Tuesday. Yeah.
No,
Um,
that does. That's again. This is what like with Sunderland fans, they'd say the same thing with Mowbray, and then you're like, but then it clicks with him, and when it clicks with Tony Mowbray, it's good. You get very frustrating times under him where you kind of think, what are we actually going for here? Are
it's
we
like that
building
weekend.
some? Yeah, and then you'll get that moment, and it clicks, and you just watch him, and you're like, he really knows what he's doing. Rovers were very groups of forms. So we'd go 1 win in 12, then we'd go unbeaten in 9, and that were kind of his story. And I think it skews fans' opinions of him at times as
Mm.
well, because if you kind of went, Rovers would always be in the playoffs, drop out the playoffs, and everyone would go, we've thrown it away. Whereas if you're in and around, it's tough. So I can't predict it. And the fact everything feels like it's against each club with every manager coming back, every player.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm not paid to predict it. I'm only backing Rovers. Like you say, it's because it's my club. I back them.
You
That's
always
it.
do. And I don't, the one thing I can say is it will hopefully be a good game.
Yeah,
And we see the best of what we can get out of our own players. Because I think at the end of the day, as fans, that's all we want to see is everybody trying. And if you come away and you've put your heart on your sleeve, that's all that matters. But yeah, we're looking forward to it. And like I say, my prediction is a 2-0 Birmingham win. Um, I couldn't tell you who's going to score because we've got that many different people that can have opportunities. But I mean, players to watch. I've mentioned Stansfield, Bakuna when he is on form, he's superb. With Dembele, same again. When he comes forward on the
yeah.
wings, he is phenomenal. Um, and our 2 fullbacks. I mean, some people would argue are the best 2 fullbacks in the league at the moment in Laird and Buchanan because when they can attack and they can play off those wide midfielders, we do so well. So yeah, looking forward to it. It's going to be a good game, and may the best team win at the end of it. And as always, just say keep right on and enjoy it when you come down.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to it.
And thank you very much for your time as well. Much appreciated.
No worries. Thank you for having us.
Cheers, no problem.